Hey everyone, welcome back. I am absolutely thrilled to have you here for today's explainer. We are taking a really deep dive into rewiring your wealth and figuring out exactly how to reprogram the mind for abundance. Now, this is something that impacts every single one of us, yet honestly, very few people actually understand it. We aren't just talking about your basic budgeting or investing strategies today. Oh no, we're talking about the internal operating system running quietly in the background of your mind. I want you to just sit with this question for a second. What if your brain is literally programmed to keep you broke? Seriously, think about it. What if the gap between where you are financially right now and true wealth isn't a lack of effort, but rather a hidden script your brain is following flawlessly? If you've ever felt like money is always just out of reach, no matter how hard you grind, you are going to want to pay very, very close attention today. Okay, let's dive right in. Look around us. We are currently shifting out of the industrial age and straight into the intelligent age. Right now, major tech companies are deploying things like the Orb, which is literally a device that scans your biometric iris to give you a world ID, just to prove you're a real human in an AI-dominated world. The entire external global financial system is being rapidly reprogrammed using data and intelligent insights. But here is the really critical pivot. While the outside world is radically updating its systems, most of us are still running our internal financial lives on an outdated childhood operating system. We urgently need to reprogram our own minds. To figure out how to actually build wealth, we kind of need to look at what guarantees failure first. So let's look at Section 1, the blueprint for poverty. That brings us to this incredibly fascinating concept called inversion thinking. It was championed by the legendary investor Charlie Munger. You see, instead of asking, how do I get rich, we have to recognize that our brains are evolutionarily designed to be much better at finding threats and problems. So inversion thinking tells us to ask, how do I guarantee that I stay absolutely poor? Once you identify every possible way to destroy your financial life, you literally just do the exact opposite. Entrepreneur Alex Hormozi brilliantly outlined the absolute best ways to guarantee you stay poor. And honestly, some of these might hit a little close to home for us. Ouch. Want to stay broke? It's easy. Just start tomorrow. Take your financial advice from people who are broke. Blame all your circumstances on the world being unfair. Wait for the perfect conditions before you finally launch that business. Prioritize looking rich to impress others over actually being rich. And whatever you do, just do what everyone else is doing. Because if you do what the 99% do, you definitely won't end up in the 1%. If you want wealth, you have to completely invert these behaviors. So why do we naturally gravitate toward that poverty blueprint anyway? Well, that takes us to Section 2, the subconscious iceberg, or the mind below. Just look at the massive difference in processing power going on inside your head right now. Your conscious mind, the part of you that sets goals and reads financial books, processes about 40 bits of information per second. But your subconscious mind, it processes a staggering 11 million bits per second. Experts note that 95% of our decisions are actually driven by the subconscious mind. So if your conscious mind really wants wealth, but your subconscious mind quietly believes money is dangerous or out of reach, well, that 11 million bit supercomputer is going to win every single time. No contest. And this massive subconscious engine of ours, it is highly, highly reactive to dopamine. Notice how high stimulating activities, like doom scrolling on social media or binge watching your favorite shows, give us a really fast dopamine hit. Our brain naturally craves that quick pleasure, but it leads straight to stagnation. On the flip side, low stimulating activities, like learning, patiently building a business, or having meaningful conversations, they give a much slower dopamine release, but they actually yield focus and long-term wealth. If we don't consciously regulate our dopamine, our subconscious will completely hijack our focus, keeping us way too distracted to do the boring work required to actually build wealth. All of that dopamine chasing ultimately serves one master, and that is your identity. Let's move to Section 3, your hidden money identity, the internal script. There are basically 3 layers to the money blocks that quietly write our internal operating system. First up is your core money story. These are the narratives you inherited in childhood, like hearing your parents say money doesn't grow on trees, or rich people are greedy, which your young brain just accepted as absolute truth. Second is your emotional relationship. This is how your nervous system literally responds to money. Do you feel a tightness in your chest when you check your bank account? Yeah, that's an old survival program running. And third, and perhaps the most invisible one, is the self-worth ceiling. The really crucial point here is understanding this self-worth ceiling. It is basically an unconscious upper limit on what you genuinely believe you deserve to have. If you ever hit an income level that pushes above this ceiling, your brain will literally cause you to self-sabotage just to get back down to what feels safe and familiar to you. I mean, this perfectly explains things like chronic undercharging in your business, procrastinating on massive opportunities, or why people blow a sudden windfall of cash almost immediately. Your brain is just desperately trying to keep your reality aligned with your current identity. You can't just forcefully think your way out of this, right? You need a completely different energy. And that brings us to section 4, the generosity and gratitude shift. There's this super fascinating thought experiment shared by author Lewis Howes. Imagine money is a literal person walking into a party. How would you treat them? Howes actually asked someone this once, and they honestly replied that they would avoid making eye contact, they'd gossip behind money's back, they'd use and abuse them when they needed them, and then just completely ghost them. Wow, if money were a real person, would it ever want to stick around you if you treated it that way? Absolutely not. You have to build a respectful, appreciative relationship with money. House actually ran a mental experiment to shift his own identity towards abundance. He started walking around New York City repeatedly declaring to himself, "I am a magnet for money. It comes to me abundantly and freely." Now get this. He found a filthy penny on the subway stairs. Instead of just ignoring it like most people would, he picked it up and said, "Thank you," respecting the money. Well, it turned out to be an incredibly rare 1945 wheat penny, and when he looked it up, one in good condition had recently sold online for $4,000. Just because he primed his mind to look for abundance and be grateful for it, he literally picked up value that everyone else was just walking right over. This whole energy of abundance is tied directly to generosity, too. Jay Shetty highlights that true wealth requires a giving mindset. In his culture, Lakshmi is the goddess of wealth, and you are supposed to treat any representation of wealth with deep respect. But you also must be generous. As the quote goes, "God doesn't see what you give, God sees what you hold back." It's so true. The wealthiest people consistently report that when they give generously, even when it's super uncomfortable, even when they feel like they don't have much to spare, they create an internal richness that eventually attracts external wealth. Okay, so now that we understand the blocks, let's get highly practical. Section 5, reprogramming your brain. Let's look at the 21-day framework. Here is how you can build this into a 21-day framework for yourself. Step 1, write a thought journal. Get a notebook and just write out your money beliefs for 10 minutes without filtering anything, just to expose them. Step 2, practice mental rehearsals. Just like Nikola Tesla used to visualize his inventions, business expert John Assaraf teaches that vividly visualizing your financial goals actually primes your brain to make them a reality. And step 3, stack daily evidence. Your subconscious needs actual proof, so take small, daily actions that align with your new, wealthy identity. A massive part of this daily reprogramming involves something called identity anchoring. You know how most people use affirmations? They say things like, "I want to be wealthy," or "I hope money comes to me." The problem is, that implies you don't have it yet. Identity anchoring forces a real subconscious shift by using present tense declarations instead. It speaks directly from the identity you are choosing, not the identity you are trying to escape. Just listen to this powerful declaration we pulled from the sources. I am someone who is learning to receive. I release the story that money is scarce, dangerous, or beyond what I deserve. Think about that. When you say this out loud, you might actually feel a tightness or some resistance in your nervous system. But you know what? That's actually a good thing. That is your old identity recognizing that a shift is happening. You have to push right through that resistance and let your nervous system learn that it is actually safe to experience abundance. We have covered a ton of ground today, from avoiding that poverty blueprint all the way to completely rewriting your subconscious identity. So I want to leave you with one final provocative thought. What single belief about money are you going to rewrite today? Your operating system might have been programmed by your past, but you have the power to write the code for your future. Start small, stack the evidence, and watch your reality shift. Thank you so much for hanging out with me on this explainer. I'll see you next time.